So, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. And to steal a line from one of my favourite people, ladies and gentlemen, people of all ages, I am actually live. It's been a while. I've come back on to see it. It has been quite a what I would say, how I would describe this recently, a real emotional time for me. Good evening, AD. A real difficult time for me to process emotionally, but also some celebratory times. So I just thought I'd come on here, and what I would do is to bring in the very much realities of people that are just starting out onto the YouTube, people who are working full time as spiritual workers and energy workers. Don't get me wrong, I've got admiration for anybody who takes out the responsibility of doing a business in this day and age. But I wanted to be a little bit selfish maybe here and just put across what I've been experiencing, the progress, and just come on here in that sense of just being really raw and stripped back. So if anybody comes on, it's going to be absolutely wonderful. If people don't, it'll be a short live. I say this every time I come on. I've been hit by a real healthy dose of reality. Hi, Michelle. Hi. Yeah. I've been hit by a real dose of reality. So when I started this thing out, the reason that I came onto YouTube initially was because, I hope you're all okay. The reason I came onto YouTube initially was purely down to because when I go onto Facebook, you get all of the spammers and all of those sort of people that come on there and cause a lot of aggravation. And to be truthful, I just can't be bothered with it. The aim of any of my work is to bring in love, light, truth and upliftment, and hopefully come out with a comment or two that might inspire people to make those changes, get out of a bit of a funk and things like that. And when it started out on here, the response was absolutely incredible. It really was. You know, I went up to 100 followers in the space of a couple of weeks, and I was absolutely blown away. But that set my expectation. And I wrote a chapter in one of my books, and it was saying on there, expectation versus reality. And this is where I maybe set my expectations too highly, because I thought that once you put this thing out there and you've got that momentum going, then once that inertia period was got over, then it would start to push that vehicle forward, which it did for a while. And then I realized how time consuming, how energetic, how much energy sapping it takes, how much you have to put in to get one of these lives going, to keep that momentum going. I'm constantly inspired by 2 or 3 people on here, as well as my regular viewers. I've got my friend Paul Hutch at the Fitness Hutch. Trevor Coult has been fantastic at supporting me, and Gemma as well with hers that promote and things like that. But if you look through their stuff, like, they're constantly on it, they're constantly making these changes and alterations and things like that. So I honestly thought that what was going to happen was that I was going to follow in their footsteps, you know, that momentum would keep going. But this is the reality. So we've got 100 as of this moment, 146 people subscribing to this channel. Now, what I've realized is that content, to stay relevant, needs updating. And I hit this sort of dip period where I went on there and I thought, right, I'm quite happy to come on here and entertain and do card readings for people and bring through the mediumistic messages. And I will always be happy to do that. But what my aim was with starting this was to bring in the element like Paul did on the Fitness Hutch there, was to bring in these things where it helped people that was in flat spaces, that was in places of distress and trauma and things like that, and bringing through guidance and inspiration, a little bit of life coaching and things like that. But the thing is with me is I am fairly tech useless. So with me, I thought, I've given my all, I've given my utmost, I've given everything to this to get it into the state where it's got to. And then I'd run out of ideas. You know, I put my book on there and serialized parts of the chapters of the book, and that got people interested. But it seemed that the numbers then seemed to drop off because people just wanted card readings. So I thought, do I rebrand it? Do I put it out there? And then I thought, when you look at the vastness of YouTube, just how many people and what they do, and I didn't really know who to go to. So when it started, the gap that I've now looked at has been 5 weeks, and there's been a reason for that. And I'm this reason why I've called this broadcast The Honest Truth is because I've been going through quite an upbeat period, and then to feel like this crushing low where I'm at now, right? And my idea, right? This is purely down to my experience and my opinion, right? It's not meant to influence anybody. But when you come on here, you're kind of like an open book, but it's a false reality. So I don't like the idea of sharing very, very personal stuff on here, purely because I feel uncomfortable doing it. Some people are quite happy to put their life in a goldfish bowl or put on a show or an act. I'm neither one of them. As I say, what I actually want to do is help people progress and move forward in their life and experience everything that they want to experience from a positive aspect. I don't want to be dealing with trolls and coming on here moaning. However, life seems to have had a couple of different plans for me. So I'm taking you back a couple of months, because I'd given you the up to about 5 weeks ago, I'd given you the experience of that I'd been to Stonehenge, which was in June, which was wonderful because it brought in a new set of energies and it brought in a new set of guides. Did a few shows, did lots of great readings, met some fabulous people. I've had some wonderful comments and compliments and things like that, and I was absolutely delighted. A few weeks ago, I then had one of these vivid dreams that Spirit seemed to bring in, and that was to go to Glastonbury. Right now, not to the music show or the festival or anything like that, but to actually go to Glastonbury. So I thought, why not? I mentioned it to Mrs. P, who was quite happy to go there. So we sorted out 2 or 3 days to go down to Glastonbury. And we went round all of the touristy bits, and what an experience. So went up the Tor and experienced all the wonderful energy around the Tor. Went to the Chalice Well, which is an experience that will live with me for a long while, because went into one of the wells, and I'm not quite sure which one it is. And you go in there, and it's in like an underground sort of cave. And I walked in there, and I'm quite an open guy. I'm no prude or anything like that. But the state to see somebody doing their version of worship and doing a ritual and things like that, naked as the day they were born, was really strange. Right? Found it really, really weird. But I thought Spirit have got me to come down here for whatever reason. So that is what I'm going to do. I'm going to experience the experience with no expectations. So I was a bit uncomfortable with the nakedness of the many people that was in there. And yes, I did say nakedness, because there was people coming up and talking like it was just the most natural thing in the world to have a conversation with somebody that they'd never met before, and in that full naked state. So I got into the water, and the idea behind the getting into the water underneath there was to bathe in it. And I kept hearing this message from Spirit to say, fully submerge. Now, I am, I think, fairly hardened to things. I'm not what I would consider a weakling or anything like that, but I have never been that cold in my life. So it's all right, Spirit coming through and inspiring me and saying, oh, yes, get yourself fully submerged. But I like to feel my testicles. And I did. And I thought at one point I'd lost them. They were that cold. They were shriveled up. I think I had 3 Adam's apples at one point. Absolutely incredibly cold. But I persevered. So I went from one depth of the water into the next depth of water. and then finally into that place where I went into submersion. It was incredibly cold. I have never experienced cold like that, but I managed to get myself fully immersed, dip myself into the water, and then felt this incredible heat across the back of my shoulders, like a severing energy of some of the stuff that I feel that I built up, some of the residual energy that I built up around the neck area and across the top of my head. Managed to submerge myself. Strange experience. So from like an earthbound soul here to experience something like that of a higher power was just humbling. It was absolutely amazing. It felt slightly uncomfortable with what was going on with all of the ceremonies and things like that, but I knew I was there. So I was brought through that, and told then that I'd got another guide with me that felt like sort of the best way of describing it, sort of Arthurian, King Arthur, that sort of thing, King of the Fairies, lots. And then when I started looking into that, there is a history around that. Well, I didn't know that prior to. So all of this stuff is just having faith in the spiritual world that this was being brought through for a reason. Went and sat after that in a place of quiet reflection. I think that's probably the best word. And then went into that place for a while. Yes, rebirth. Yeah, I think now on reflection, it actually was. So I went across the road to the other well and went in there where you can walk about in there, which is an entirely different experience. The energy is far lighter. And then we decided that we was going to go into the, I'm trying to remember the name, the Abbey. All right, so as somebody there that just likes experiencing spiritual energy, when I went into the Abbey, I thought, well, if it's anything like Lincoln Castle, I'll experience whatever's going on there, because I pick up on energies, because I am energy sensitive. Anyway, I went in there, and immediately when I walked in there, I didn't like that energy in that place whatsoever. So again, it was another one of these experiences where I'm walking around, and I don't know whether I was a little bit dismissive or a little bit flippant, but I was put in my place. So we went round the ruins. We went round on a tour. We was told what certain things were, what they represented. It was where King Arthur was allegedly buried and all of this sort of thing. And I'm like, yeah, okay, this is very interesting. I then walked round to the kitchen area, went into the kitchen area, and as I walked through the door, it was like a gunshot going off in my head. Get out! And I looked round, and I'm looking for something, is this a joke? Is it a tape? Or is it something like that? Is it a prank? And I'm going, okay, get out. And this was really loud in my ears. Really, really, really. Anyway, I ignored it, just totally ignored it, and thought it was kind of amusing. Cut forward about 30 seconds, and I am outside, and I was very, very close to throwing up. It was that strong of an energy around my sacral chakra, around my stomach area, that I was struggling at one point to keep going without throwing up. So I went out of there and walked around a little bit, and then went to the healing stone, and it all seemed to settle. But the thing is, there, I was not going to be in a place where I was going to take the mickey or anything like that. So I came out of that fairly quickly, because I didn't want to be around that sort of energy. Looked at some of the history in there, and the energy that I seem to have picked up was a very grumpy chef, that had thrown me out of his kitchen because I was probably being a little bit flippant and he was busy. So came out of there, and then experienced Glastonbury around the shopping areas and things like that. And while it's not a place that I would rush back to, it was on my bucket list to do, and I've ticked off my bucket list. So I wasn't fully understanding of what I'd been there for. I didn't really get it, but I'm pleased I did it. So come home, have a few shows again. And this is where things have taken a bit of a turn over these last few weeks. So I've been contemplating coming back on. I just hope that you can all see me, guys, because it seems to have frozen on my screen. You just let me know if somebody can still see me, because it all seems to have stopped on mine. can anybody still hear me? Because I seem to be talking away there, and it seems to be that it's not catching up. So as I was, I've had a lot of shows and a lot of readings and a lot of private events to do, and it's been an absolute thrill ride. And I was supposed to be going up to Newcastle. Anyway, for one reason or another, I decided that I wasn't going to go to Newcastle and do the show because it was purely based on a financial issue. So something else came in. I was just waiting. All right, brilliant. So I was just waiting on like these things to come in. So I travelled up to York, near York, Tadcaster, to do some readings for a psychic party. And it was a fabulous evening. It really was a fabulous evening. Spirit was so on form, and the energy that was coming through and the messages that were coming through were absolutely amazing. I was just beyond thrilled that, especially towards the last one, and this was like 11 o'clock at night when I was delivering this last message, that the strength of spirit coming through and connecting in with that wonderful, wonderful energy that they bring in when you're on form. I was just really, really pleased. Drove home, got home at about 1 o'clock in the morning, went to bed, got up the following morning, and because I've been busy at weekends and things like that, it was, I never forget who helps me, you know, when the things are trying to build a business, when you're trying to bring things, you know, build from the ground up. I always remember the people that have helped me. Now, the person who is the absolute foundation, the absolute rock in my life is Mrs. P. And I just thought, I live very close to the East Coast. So went to Mablethorpe and had some lovely time at Mablethorpe. Our hobby as a couple is to play miniature golf. So we went on there, played miniature golf for on three different rounds, had a bit of dinner, bit of a walk round, bit of a stroll down the beach. And it was nice because there was people there, but wasn't too crowded. So then come home after having a wonderful day, and anybody will hear me, for those that have stayed on, I just let me know if there's anybody still on, because for some reason it's just totally dropped me out there. Yeah, it seems to be back up and running there. There was a bit of a glitch. Maybe it's because I was talking about Stonehenge, not Stonehenge, because I was talking about Glastonbury. How strange is that? So, if there's anybody still on, can you just let me know, guys, if there's anybody that can... brilliant. Right. So where we was up to. So the phone rang, and the phone was passed to Mrs. P and then to me. I heard my mum on the end of the phone, who was very distressed, and said, "I need you." So, of course, you do what you do. I'm lucky that I live just on the other side of the estate from my mum. I shot over to find out that my dad had actually passed away in his chair. Now, it's a strange experience that I've never experienced before. Are we still here? I've totally disappeared according to that comment. Can anybody see me? Hello, I'm still here. Honestly, I'm still here. Just keep up to date with the comments with me, guys, because for some reason I'm on a bit of a lag here. This might be the thing to say to come off. I don't know, because I was hoping to do some cards and have a bit of interaction with you guys and see if anybody was interested. So let me just... So, are we there? Right. Are we still there? Anyway, we'll keep going, and hopefully this will pick up. So it sets off a chain of events. My dad had, say, passed away in his chair, and then it sets off all these things where people come in. Now, I'm not going to get into the ins and outs of what's going on personally, but the reason I've mentioned it is because it's affected my headspace, it's affected relationships, it's affected communications. And I wanted to come on tonight and just say, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for everybody that's took the time to check in with me. Thank you for everybody that's offered a kind word or a listening ear, or, you know, somewhere where, you know, to come and have a chat. But it's one of those things that I found quite difficult, because I always want to offer my support to anybody that's had anybody pass away. I want to say the right thing, but I truthfully don't know what to say. Personally, that when people say, you know, time heals all wounds, that sets off a chain reaction with me, because I truthfully don't believe it. But it did get me thinking about what I want to put on this channel, what I want to achieve, that I want to be there for people when they're in those spots. And I just felt that the entertainment side of it, where I was reading cards and things like that, was not what I want to achieve on here. Now, I will contradict myself at some point, because there are going to be other lives where I'm coming on here and I'm just going to be doing tarot cards and mediumship messages and things like that. But what I truthfully want, and this is why I've come on here and kind of appealing to you guys that watch me and help promote my things, is I want this to be a safe space for people. I want this to be a place where people can come and communicate and not feel like they're being challenged over anything. I'm not looking at, I was saying, I mentioned about Trevor Cult. I'm not looking at emulating anybody. I want to use this platform to help people. And if there is connection with spirit, and then obviously I'll deliver that message. If there's not, I will read a card. But I'm looking at promoting people's health and well-being, and I'm so fascinated by people who've managed to make that work. So, as I say, I've got 146 subscribers on there, and it's an absolute honor having that many. But I want to get into the multiple hundreds. You know, I don't want to set my targets too high, but I want to get into the multiple hundreds, because I really believe that spirit, the universe, whatever it is that you call it or know it as, have given me this astonishing gift on a long-term lens. So what I'm looking at doing is passing on that knowledge. I'm looking at booking in 2024. I went through a serious wobble prior to my dad passing about whether I could actually sustain this as a job. And this is where I want to say to people, you know, when you're going through difficult times and you've got places in your life that it feels like you're stranded and the waves are going to overwhelm you, I have these things to cling on to, you know, the strength, the experiences that I've really had. And on September the 19th, it marked a full year since I'd started out in this business as a full-time professional worker. I've been on the circuit now for just over 6 years, but I took that brave plunge just over a year ago to do it full time. So there's no other work, right? So if I don't do readings, I don't do shows, I don't do anything else, I don't get paid, right? My work's not always about getting paid, because I looked at a fellow psychic's work on here, and he mentioned about non-material wealth. Well, if non-material wealth was a commodity, I'd be one of the richest men in the world, because it's been the support that I've had, the messages that I've had over these over this last year has been nothing short of incredible, and I am so grateful. But I have my limitations. I really have my limitations. I think I'd lack patience. And I thought that once I'd put the building blocks in, then that momentum would get the whole thing rolling. And it's not turned out that way. So I'm basically throwing myself on people's mercy when I come on here, because I will do my level best to get on as many times as I can. But I do have dips in mood. I mentioned at the beginning, I watch lots of people on these YouTube channels, and the ones I watch, I'm just full of admiration. Sometimes I can be governed by a mood. That's like today. I woke up at 7 o'clock this morning, and I was fine, right? I felt, right, today might be the day where I'll get on and do the live, because I have been stalling over it, and I'm not quite sure what the block was. Obviously, it's got to come down to me. So I was looking at what this block was. I then fell asleep for an hour and had a very intense dream where I was in the middle of a discussion with somebody, and it wasn't a pleasant experience. And when I came downstairs after that hour, all of that interest, all of that drive, all of that enthusiasm to crack on and do X, Y, Z with my spiritual stuff had gone. And I've been in a funk all day, and it's got nothing to do with my dad passing or anything like that. This is purely down to a mood that is just sort of landed on me, which again is all energy. So as a therapist as well, I've got certain tried and trusted methods and procedures that I can go through that help me cope when you do have these more difficult sort of thoughts. So take the dogs out for a walk, for instance, is one of the bigger ones for me. Getting out in nature, putting some uplifting music on, just getting the blood flowing and things like that. But none of them really tick the box today. So what I've done is self-care, self-love, a little bit of strengthening, knowing that tomorrow's another day, and assuming that I get up, I will have another attempt at building on what I've started. So this for me was a test. It was all about coming back on here because I do not lack confidence when I'm in front of a camera. I love this because I've got an audience. My natural go-to thing over the years when I've been in a I'm trying to think what the best way of putting it is. Being in a place of anxiety and stress, things like that, is I've always played this role. Now I don't have to play that role because I don't have these stresses. I don't have these worries sat on my shoulders. I can be out there and I can be true. I get agitated by the little things in life, like most people do, with things that normally are out of our control. I've been in an incredible fortunate position this year to be doing podcasts and things like that. I love speaking about spirit and helping people understand themselves. So today it was just like all of the stuff that I've preached and put out to people came back and landed in my lap, and I had to sort of sort through that and just went, right, sometimes you have to take things on the chin and go, right, I need to listen rather than speak today. So today has been difficult. But the thing is, and this is again why I'm being honest with all of this, for me, when you come on here and you're looking at inspiring people, it's all right being honest and truthful. But for me, if you're looking to lift people, it's no good coming on here and having a meltdown and a moan. So I'm definitely not going to be sat here moaning, just putting you in the picture. So over the course of these next few weeks, I make no promises. I'm not a politician, so it's not something I'm going to go back on. I am looking at doing more of these things, but I need to work on how I can present these sort of things. So I'm sat in my treatment room with the laptop and I'm working on StreamYard, passing on whatever I've got. So I need that format working on a little bit better. And I am going to do my level best to increase the amount of times I come on here. But I've got a journey to go through myself. There's the funeral to take care of and various other tasks that I've set myself. But you guys that come on these lives continually inspire me. So it was coming on tonight with a bit of gratitude. I didn't know how many people were going to come on here, but I wanted to get the subscribers up, which you can hit that like button and subscribe anytime you like. It's all for free. It doesn't cost anything. Just hit that like, subscribe and share, because I don't want to be coming across as anything fantastic. I don't want to be coming across as like I believe I'm a star or anything like that. Hi, Dizzy J. I just want to genuinely be in that support role. I'm asking spirit for guidance all of the time. And here's another thing. We're talking about spirit guidance. And I had a dream. Again, seems to be on a dream theme tonight. I had a dream. And a messenger came through to me and said, "Do you not get it yet?" And I said, "Sorry, do you not get it yet?" And I'm going, no. I don't know what it is that I'm supposed to be getting, because as I say, as far as I'm concerned, I have taken every opportunity that I have been offered. Some have been fantastic, some have been not so fantastic, but at least I can say I've made the effort. No, you're missing the point. Do you not get it yet? I'm going, no. Right, spirit from 2017, I think, when I started all of this, have been absolutely amazing. They've never put me in any position where I've looked stupid or embarrassed myself or anything like that. If there's been any doubts, they've all been in my mind, not with the spirit world. So I'm questioning what it is that they're trying to show me. Now, if you're a spiritual worker yourself, you know that there can be very fine lines between what you're picking up from spirit and how you apply it into your everyday life. So I said, I need more information. I'm finding this a little bit difficult to comprehend. So they said, do you realize what your role is in life? And to be truthful, I said no, because I've been searching for that for many a long year. What is my role? You know, it's almost like that "what am I here for" speech. And I've had various different roles in my working life, but nothing that matches my spiritual development. So they told me that I was a reincarnated angel, and the reincarnated angel's job was to come back here on an earthbound level and help people find parts of their soul that they've left behind. So again, that was a little bit too airy-fairy for me. I needed more clarification with that. So what spirit have shown me in a vision is that through my counseling, my spiritual guidance work, that I'm helping people through trauma, so it puts them in a position of strength so that they can pick up the pieces that they've had to leave behind. So it's not past life regression. I'm not sitting here advertising as a past life regressionist. What I'm sat here is a spiritual guidance worker. People want to know what that skill is, right? What that actually entails. I advertise it, but I don't get a lot of takers. So this was like tonight, to come on here, as well as doing my cards and that, was to sit here and tell people what spiritual guidance represents to me. I never advise people to go against people that are medically trained or mentally health trained or anything like that, because I've got limited experience. All of my work is from my heart and my connection with the spiritual world. I have had people that have attacked psychics and mediums in the way of saying that you attach yourself to the emotionally vulnerable, lead people on. Right. Let me be very, very clear about this, because I say I'm in my rawest state at the moment and I don't give a shit who I upset with any of this. Right. I don't go looking for people. I don't project myself onto people. Spirit have told me I've got a gift, right? The one thing that I do know how to do very well is communicate. So when I use that gift, I get on there and then people attract to me. Once they come to me and ask what's going on, then I will utilize that gift and I will discuss and I will talk to people in the only way that I know how, which is honest and straightforward. So what spiritual guidance actually entails is tuning into your energy. Now, how do I know that I'm doing that? Right. I have studied many hours and practiced with Reiki. So I'm a Reiki master. I have spent lots of money on training to be a neuro-linguistic programming advocate, where we work within the mental state of what is happening, what you're thinking, and how you're processing it. I also did analytical hypnotherapy, and I trained in that as well. And Added to that, my background as a prison officer for 12 years, where I've been working with people's energies that have ranged from the really, the really low to the really high. All of that combined is a skill set. I am not sitting here and saying to anybody that I'm a fully trained counsellor, because I'm not. I am not sitting here saying you and putting any fantastic labels on. But where I've got the skill set, I've got the backing from the spiritual world. So what I do is I sit and I listen. And then we work around vocabulary. We work around certain phrases or sayings, and we look at rearranging them. But unlike counselling, which I had experienced personally, I had a lot of time to open up to people that I felt uncomfortable with, and then have all of that information fed back to me in a different order, and then see how it looked like from that different standpoint. It didn't work for me, right? I am not decrying any counsellors. I'm talking about a personal experience here that it didn't work for me. So like a lot of my work, it's based on how I was feeling at the time. So how can I put that in a different way so some people can apply their own strengths to it and then come out with just knowing that they've had somebody support them while they go through this? Because I don't think that anybody out there can tell you how to do something, but they can support you. So when I work with my spirit guides, they will come through and they will bring me messages. And I'll show you, because I was doing one the other day, right? So I do about 15 or 20 minutes before I start out with a reading or anything like that. If somebody comes to me, and then I start to write, whatever comes through, I put that down. Do the introduction with a client, speak to them, and then say, right, I've got this going on around you. Does it make any sense? Then after that point, there's no story to go with it. We put a full stop on it, and then we start to work with whatever's going on around that person, be it around their energy, something that they've said, something that I feel that has come to the surface. And then I look at bringing in upliftment. And this is what my absolute passion is, from suffering from depression since the age of 15, with a couple of suicide attempts in the background, one serious and one not so serious, but all of them were relevant to me at the time. And I sit here from a place where I don't want anybody to think that they're on their own. Right? One person cannot change the world, but we can certainly help. So that was the heart and the idea behind this channel. It wasn't to promote me as a particular worker, but also I've got to bear in mind that I've got to eat. So I am very, very, very grateful for that comment there. You like, subscribe, and have you in my playlist and spirituality. Thank you. I will, right? And this is the thing. This is not an ego-based statement. I've come on here tonight. It is an absolute test, right? It is a test for me to get me out of that place where I've dipped into. I've sort of come off the motorway and I've gone into the lay-by and I've stopped there a bit too long. I'm not making any wild promises that I'll be on regularly, because I think that put pressure on myself to actually do this. This video might not even stay on for long because of the problems with the tech. But I'm basically talking out to you guys there that I've got over 2,000 followers on Facebook, on my Rick Paul Spiritual Medium page. I've got other people on my Urban Angel page on Facebook. Many people, so to about 400 people. So put that together, and there's 2,500 people. 2,500 people on there, and I've got 146 subscribers on here at this moment. So everybody that I've spoken to and that I've seen on this method has took time to build it up. The encouragement from the community-based people in here has been amazing. So what's going to happen with me is I will be on here. I will figure out how to put more content on there, hopefully with a better connection than what we've got tonight. But it's a strange one, but that's where I'm at with it. Don't take it down, take the audio and put it onto a podcast. Well, I might have to sort of contact somebody for their greater knowledge with that, because truthfully, I'm not 100% sure how to do that. But yes, I've just lost my thread a little bit there. So I'm not flat. I'm not down. I'm a little bit lackluster. I think the energy's a little bit flat around me. But when I come to working with other people's energies, this is the amazing thing. I put out to spirit that I need help, and they come in. So last Saturday, the week after my dad's passing, I went to an event, and I got there and I got set up. I do my usual opening up procedure. I trust spirit are going to be there when they're asked, because, as I say, they've never let me down in the past. And I got in the car park and I went and got set up, came out to pick up my signs and my banners, and I rung my wife and I said, I don't think I should be here. I really don't think that I should be here today. I don't know whether I'm going to do it justice or not. And the thing is, guys, is when I'm working, I'm a genuine man. I want the best, and I want the best from minute one till the end of the show. And I felt in my heart that I couldn't guarantee I'd get that. And then I get a message through from Spirit. Well, Mrs. P encourages me to stay because she's always on my side, come what may. And then I got a message from Spirit. Right, we'll look after you. We will look after you all day. I went to speak to somebody who came to ask me about my situation because they knew about it personally. And they went, you'll be okay. You'll be looked after. So what happened then was I went and I sat down with my cup of tea. No, sorry, my hot chocolate. Let's get it right, because there's different levels of posh with me. So I went and had my hot chocolate and I sat there. And for about half an hour, I was watching other people getting busy and not doing a lot. I thought, well, that's maybe how Spirit want me to work today. And that's okay. That's absolutely fine. So if we do a couple of readings, then that's okay. Cheap table, happy days. Well, from that moment on till the end of the show at 4:00, I was busy all day. I had people sent to me. I had people that had recommended me, and it was just absolutely incredible. And it was a strange thing that I wasn't really part of any of this. It was all spiritual. So part of my skills come in, as I mentioned, with NLP and all of the rest of it. But the spiritual side of the things, Spirit carried me, and it was wonderful because the support level and the understanding was just absolutely incredible. So at one point, I decided to go and get myself a sandwich, and I thought, I talk about self-care a lot with other people, but don't always exercise it myself. So what I did was I blocked off an appointment and I went and grabbed myself something to eat and a cup of tea, come back to my table, and there's somebody stood there who I thought was just having a general conversation with me. And she went, "Are you available for a reading?" So I looked and I said, right, honestly, I haven't got a full slot, but you're like 5 minutes into the reading. Would you like to take that slot? So she said yes. And that was it. That was my break. My break was about 5 minutes. And I worked all the way through. And I got home absolutely drained because of, say, situation that's happened around me. And plus just an incredible amount of support from people in the spiritual world, and had a fantastic event. It got me back on the horse, if you like, after the difficulties that I'd experienced. It's now left me to like where we are now, that as we come towards the end of the year, that I have still got one or two things on. Inevitably, when you get to sort of the end of October, then what tends to happen is, my experience so far is that it starts to slow down. So I'm now looking at what happens in 2024. I'm not wishing my time away or anything like that, but I'm looking at building. So my advert here, if you like, is for house parties, where I come to your house, or I'm quite happy to do readings on the internet through StreamYard. I'm quite happy to have the odd people around here as well, if you're this side of this side of the pond, and putting the word of spirit out there as much as I can. This is my profession. Excuse the dogs in the background, because that'd be somebody coming back in. So it's just to say Thank you. So I hope that somebody can still hear me, because again, I've totally frozen on my screen. If there's anybody here that would like a reading before I get off, because I'm thinking now that I've spoken for long enough, I will quite happily do readings for. Signal seems to have dropped up there again. My screen. Right, so I kind of agree with you about counselling. I've experienced it myself and didn't find it. Guys, if you're still on, thank you very much. I don't know what's going on, so what I will do is, I say it is gone off there completely. I will take this broadcast off, and there won't be a replay of it, because to me it's not professional enough. So those of you guys that have shared it with me, I really appreciate that. But it's a little bit frustrating, because I don't know why that's actually happened. I'll be on for a few more minutes if anybody's got any questions or any experiences or anything that they want to share. But essentially, this will be taken off and got rid of, because I don't quite know what's happening, because it's not showing as that there's a signal drop out, because I'm plugged into the Ethernet. But I have not got the skills to know what's actually going on there. So, as I say, if anybody's got any questions. Now here's an absolutely wonderful lady on there. Hi, Gemma. Hope you're well. So see if we can highlight that. Hi, hope you're well. I'm just saying, Gemma, for those that have joined late, it's been a very, very difficult thing on there. So there won't be a replay of this, because I've had 2 or 3 restarts there. And it needs to take off, because it's not professional enough. You know, I'm not the world's greatest with tech, but we've had a discussion tonight about the progress, and maybe just like that comment says there, maybe it was that needed to talk and just get myself back on the saddle again. Quick recap for you, and I won't go through I won't go through it too much there, Gemma. I've been away from the internet for various reasons. I've been quite busy with other stuff, with the spiritual work, and then it's got to the stage where I've got tired and I've got a little bit disillusioned, because, say, of how quick it started out and how it snowballed. Now I got to the first 100 subscribers, and then it basically flatlined, and I didn't get anything. So it started to become an excuse there. Why I'm going to go on there, and then I didn't, for whatever reason or another. And I was just looking at coming back last week, and I was just saying that my father passed away unexpectedly. So it's kind of like upskittled me. But it has given me the chance to have a look at what's actually going on. So I am in the background prepping and looking at how I'm going to promote myself going forward, because I celebrated my first year in business, which I'm absolutely delighted with, because truthfully, I never thought it would happen. So thank you for that. I appreciate all of the wonderful comments. And I was mentioning you at the beginning, Gemma, that looking at your work. So if you look at Gemma's pages, Gemma's very open and honest about everything that she deals with, and she has a fair share of people that will knock and scammers and things like that, but she's absolutely amazing at dealing with it. But it's the experience that she's built up over a long time, and she's got over 1,000 subscribers. But it's like I've been saying, that don't happen overnight, and I may be being a little bit naive there when I was sort of thinking that it will start to build a lot quicker, and it hasn't. So I got a little bit flatlined with it. So I am back, and I don't know when I'm going to come on and do any more. I think what will tend to happen is I've got quite a few commitments towards the end of this month. And then as it starts to get quieter, we're looking at promoting more of this sort of thing on there. So it might even, it might even split the brand a little bit, because I'm doing some work with a lovely lady called Annabelle doing fortune cookies, and we're going to do a joint live at some point. We're just trying to get the dates to tally up, because she's in America and obviously I'm in good old Lincoln in England. So it's getting that thing to sort of line up. And that'll be about tarot and mediumship and things like that. And we haven't quite decided what the subject matter will be, whether it'll be like a podcast style of thing or whether it'll just be like a psychic party. I'm not quite sure of the details, so I can't reveal anything, because truthfully, I don't know anything. And I will also do cards and tarot myself if anybody wants a reading, but I need a bigger audience. So if you guys that I've got the bigger channels, as I was saying, Gemma, I was very graciously by Paul and Mel at the Fitness Hutch, and you've got lots of other people that have been very, very supportive, and I need that bigger name so I can reach more people. But the idea tonight was to basically get me back on my bike again, get me going again, because I've just sort of, I don't know, it's not a rut as such, but you kind of get comfy when you sat in your spot doing nothing. And I've been busy doing the other things, but this is where my heart and soul lies, is helping people with their mental health, even if I'm just stood there as that support role. I might not always know the answers, but I'm always there for people. I got some quite negative feedback from somebody that I did a guidance session with. So I now put out this warning with people that if you come and have a session with me, right, I'm not fluffy bunny, right? I'm enthusiastic about you guys' lives, and what I want to do is help promote you. So it's not going to be the easy route. If you think coming and having a session with me is I'm going to be on your side and agreeing with everything you said, if you're doing anything that I consider self-destructive, or you're pulling yourself down in any way whatsoever, you can be rest assured 100% that I will challenge you. And I only know how to do it one way. So I do my research. I do my, bless you. I thank you very much there, Gemma. I appreciate that. So I do work in my own way. I am not sat here from a place of ego and trying to say that I'm the big I am. I'm just a genuinely compassionate guy that doesn't want to see people hurt in any way whatsoever. And I realise that that's not realistic. I'm pissing in the wind a little bit with that. But I find it fascinating when I watch people, like I say, I'm looking at loads of people on here that I follow quite regularly that have an impact. And that's what I'm looking at doing. So keep repeating Paul and Mel. Wonderful Gemma there. And he's the guy, Trevor Coult, right? To name but three that I've got big followings. You look at Trevor's, and I think he's 800,000 followers, I think, like that, who gave me a shout out. What an absolute thrill that somebody who's like dealing with international personalities and media and things like that, that's got recognition on Facebook, ex-servicemen and things like that, has took time out of his day to give me that little bit of a shout out, that little bit of a boost. So I truthfully feel that if I disappeared by the wayside, that I'd be letting some people down. But the truth is, every now and again, this thing about self-care is needed. I finished a reading this morning for somebody, and I messaged them and I said to them that just to remember that self-care is not a luxury, it's a necessity. So I have had to take some of my own medicine. It is not easy. I've had to sort of take a step back and in my mind be a little bit selfish, because I'm not coping on as well as what I should do. I'm so fortunate to have the wife that I've got and the family and the support network that I've got, but I never take it for granted. So everybody is going through a different stage of their journey every single day. So I always feel like I don't want to burden anybody. But I just knew, guys, that I needed to come on here tonight. And as I say, this will be deleted once this is finished, because it's not up to the standard of where I would like it to be, just purely because of the difficulties with the audio and things like that. But, you know, the people that keep coming on here and pushing me inspire me to do more with this work. My guides are insisting. Some of the people that do readings and messages for me are insisting that I am on the threshold of something really, really good. Truthfully, guys, when I look at it, I just think that I got through a year. Like, I got through a year in business in difficult times. So if that was my test, when the barriers are cleared, what am I going to achieve? But whatever I achieve, I'm going to take everybody that has been loyal to me right from the start. I haven't got time. I said to my wife the other day, I'm going through some difficult emotions at the minute, as you can well imagine. But I haven't got time for hatred in my heart. I haven't got time for carrying that anger around. So the anger that I'm dealing with at the moment, which is not to be shared on this forum, will be ironed out and dealt with. And I won't be repressing it, and I won't be carrying it around, because I've got work to do. I genuinely believe I've got a job to do. And how that's going to take form, I don't know. So this morning I sat there, as I say, in a bit of a flat mood, but I've started opening my diary up for 2024 in the hope that I get the same level of support, maybe even better, from what I've done this year up to now. And when I sit back at the end of this year and have a look to see what's been achieved, you know, Stonehenge, highlight of the spiritual calendar for me, the energies I experienced, being on a theatre, you know, being on a theatre stage and delivering. Okay, I only had a small audience, but it was just such an absolute delight. I've travelled as far as Newcastle North and down to say Glastonbury, Stonehenge South. It's been a roller coaster, and I'm learning all of the time. I'm 51 and I feel like I'm just having my last day at school. So it's just coming on here and just being very, very grateful and very, very humble. It's coming up to that time of year as well, when I lost my father-in-law 3 years ago. So that does weigh on my mind. But this is the thing about reality. We all have these difficult phases that we go through. And I do not see the value of coming in and having a meltdown, because that's part of what I consider your blueprint in life that you learn as you go along. There's no hard and fast rules. So when I sit with people that are experiencing grief, I just ask them to just consider an opinion, right? This is not an instruction. But as I believe that everything is energy, I believe that grief, if it's an energy, is like that in front of your face. If you've got something in your face like that, it's an obstruction. So that energy needs moving somewhere so that you can actually progress on with your life. So what I do personally is I move that energy to one side. It's not behind me and it's not in front of me. It's at the side of me, knowing that realistically I'm going to face that for the rest of my days. But on my good days, I'm going to be able to deal with it in the strongest possible way. On the days where I'm feeling a little bit weaker, then what happens is I just sit with that energy. I put no pressure on myself. I have no expectation that I'm going to come up with some magical answer, because that's part and parcel of my journey as I go through life. So I'm no expert, but I tell you what, I'm good when I'm in your corner. I'm good when I'm helping people. So this is what I look to do, is inspire people. And it's amazing that people keep coming back to me and speaking to me about their experiences. You know, I get far more positive feedback than I do the negative, but being a sensitive person, I tend to take on board everything. But it's like with anything, you've got to sort of throw it in the effort bucket in the corner at times and move on, because there's always going to be somebody out there that doesn't like you, doesn't agree with you. Probably you may be getting the information right to them, but you're pressing all of their wrong buttons, that they're not ready for it. But am I going to stop doing that? No, Right, I'll go through my wobbles. I will go through the mood swings. I will go through, the stage fright sometimes when that comes in, but I won't give up. I just so passionate about doing this work, and I'm going to get off in a minute if nobody wants a card, because it really was a test. It was an L plate thing, because I run these lives around when Mrs. P goes out to her exercise classes, because I'm in that stage where I like a company and I like having time with her. She works full time. I'm the one that sort of lounges around like some sort of, I don't know. It's so funny. It's so surreal when you're used to working all of your working life, and then you get these huge chunks where you're not doing anything, and you've got to fill in those time gaps with something constructive. And I'm only just starting to get used to it, that I can go on stage and have a big audience and then have that climb down and then come back to reading for one person, and then there might be a gap of 2 or 3 days where there isn't anything. But the thing is, I keep going. I'm consistent in my approach. I just feel like I've just got knocked a little bit buffeted by things just recently. But say I've always got the people in my corner, and that I'm really, really grateful for. Can I have a birthday reading? Right. Let me see what we'll come up with. So I'm not rusty or anything like that, but as I say, head's a little bit. But as soon as I get that cough, this is like where they rallied. This was exactly what they were like on Saturday. So what I'm going to do is, there's a card falling out for you. There's 2 cards falling out for you. All right, and I'll pull you a quick angel card as well. I'll be on here for another couple of minutes, guys, and then I'm going to get off. Right, so 2 cards. So 5 of Swords. When we look at the 5 of Swords, the 5 of Swords for me is being aware of people that are around you that are willing to take you for granted. Swords are all about hurdles, problems, and obstacles to overcome. Swords also represent the suit of air, matters of the mind and the intellect, how you think and how you process information. So when I see this particular person, this is kind of like a warning, looking around people. If it's personal and it's yourself that's acting in this manner, this is a card of victory, but it's a short-lived victory, because if I can just get that to settle right in the light there, in the background is these souls that have been trodden on, what's known as collateral damage. So with this, it's saying that if you've built something on other people's backs, be prepared that it will come back and bite you in the backside. But knowing what you're like, I know that won't be the case. So I shall give you the alternative version of it, which means being aware of other people that are around you that may well take you for granted, that may well be building something on your back. Well, rest assured that the message is the same, that they will get found out in the end, because as my guide always says in this sort of scenario when this card comes up, is karma can be a bit of a bitch. So blue, communication. So being mindful of that you communicate your needs and wishes, and don't be taken in by anybody that's operating at that lower moral ground. 4 of Wands, on the other hand, is a lovely practical card, because 4 for me represents stability. The red there represents your root chakra. Your root chakra is all about your base. It's all about your foundations. So this is now where all of the efforts that you've put in up to this point of this year, because this is how I'm feeling this from January to now, is been about stabilizing. It's been about the changes that you've now brought into place. And it's about, for me, the sense of concreting them all in. So this is time to have a break, time to celebrate the family, time to be around people that love and support and guide you, much like I'm coming on here tonight. And this is where we stabilize things as well. So we look at relationships there. So this is one of those matters that if you're not married, look at marriages and progression of relationships, because it's all building. As you go into next year, what you're going to find is that a lot of things are going to solidify with you, and they're going to make a lot more sense than they currently do. Because at the minute, you're juggling quite a few things, and they've yet to stabilize, but rest assured they will do. And I pulled you an angel card there very quickly, the Queen of Michael. So when you're doing tarot, Now, the king and the queen don't often give you a message as such. What they tend to do is give you a feeling or a sense of the person that's delivering them. In the angel cards, what the queen represents for me is somebody who's a boss, somebody who gets things organized. Michael is the omnipresent angel that is always around if you need a shield to get behind, a sword to protect you. And this is about you establishing your ground rules and getting yourself in that position where you are the queen and the ruler. So your message, you know exactly what to do, the benefit of experience and a time for your career rather than relationships. So we've got a little bit of a contrast going on with that one there, but both of them in harmony are going to result in the same thing. So it is saying working on your career rather than your relationships. But if you've got that support there and you've got your tribe around you, then you'll be able to get rid of this sort of energy when it comes in, because you'll be more aware of it. You can delegate to other people and just go, right, I don't need that around me. But not so much being forceful in your dealings, because heavy-handed approaches don't always work, but being mindful of when you've got that sort of energy around you. So I'll leave that one with you. Thank you very much for everybody that's come in. I really appreciate that. Did that one. Oh. Not admitting any weakness. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for that. I love your honesty. Yeah, I can't be any different. Thank you. So, guys, as I say, genuinely, thank you for everybody that's come on. I'm going down for a cup of tea. This was really impromptu because Mrs. P had asked me if I was going to go on before before she went out, and I said no because I've been feeling quite tired and, as I say, a little bit flat. This recording will be deleted purely on the basis of the quality of it for me is not good enough, and I've no idea how to edit and do things like that. So from the bottom of my heart, those of you that have been on and supported me, I really, really appreciate it. And if you can share out and get people to subscribe, I promise with you guys in my corner, then I will reach those goals of those multiple hundreds of subscriptions. I will keep in check and realise that I know that I've got a lot of work to do, and I get that. Patience has never been one of my stronger virtues, but I will consistently work on that. So until I come on the next time, and I'm hoping that it's going to be more regular, but as I say, I'm not going to lie and bullshit you and make any vague promises, but I'm looking to get on at least once a week. We'll look at topics and things like that. So if anybody's got any ideas about what they would like to talk about in regards to spirituality, I'll always be there for a brew and a natter. And on that one, I'm going to say thank you very much for tuning in. Much love and light out to you, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers, guys. Thank you.